center field. Going back is Gonzalez. It is gone! Two-run home run by Schwarber. Stays put, and there's a high fly ball. Deep right field. Harper watches it fly.
And we are back for our final preview episode. 5 players to talk about today. We've already discussed everybody else. Left the most fun category for last, I guess, the outfield. It's going to be a lot of here's what's wrong with this player. It's going to be a bunch of those players, but it's fine because that means that, we're kind of done with the preview. We're done with the preseason stuff. Baseball's just about here. We have 8 days. I think next Thursday's opening. It's not in Philly.
8 days.
So, yeah, it's not in Philly,
Yeah,
so that's not as fun.
DC.
But yes, next Thursday we'll be in DC, and the season will be underway. And I could not be more excited. How are you doing, Johnny?
I'm good, man. I'm tired of spring training baseball. I want regular season baseball. And I also don't love that this Japan series is this week. Why can it not just be like All-Star weekend? But besides the point, I'm excited for regular season baseball. And I think our outfield preview is going to be interesting.
Yeah, spring training's cool until like March 15th, and then I'm just over it. I don't really
just don't care.
Yeah, it can end at that point. Let's get into outfield, and if you don't mind, Johnny, could you please cue the music? Trivia time. 3-2. Is it 3-2?
Yeah, don't call it a comeback. 2 in a row.
Okay, Johnny. You're a very loyal Phillies fan. I'm sure you're paying attention to the stat lines for spring training. I'm sure you've been watching all these players. Just because I know you're into spring training. You're every day you're tuning in. So the trivia time question for today is: among players with at least 10 at bats this spring. So we're talking, the guys who are hanging around. They're getting their work in the spring. Who has the highest OPS? And since we're discussing the outfield, that should give it away that it's an outfielder. Yeah, who is it, Johnny?
My gut says Max Kepler.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
You are correct, and we are tied.
All right.
Max Kepler. Let me read off these stats. He's having a really good spring. He's batting 345, 1196 OPS, 3 home runs until he ran into the wall. Nothing could really stop him. He's been pretty terrific. And I mean, let's kind of do a deep dive into Max Kepler because he's very interesting. First off, my first instinct seeing him in person, he's way bigger than I thought he was. He looks really small on TV. He's 6'4", 225, which that's news to me. I did not know he was that big.
That's a big dude.
I don't know if it's just the Twins cameras or whatever, but he looks really small on TV, doesn't he?
Yeah, I guess I never really. I don't even know what I would have guessed his size is, but
yeah, he's a big guy. He's gonna be playing left field for the first time. He's had a pretty interesting career because back in 2019, I want to say he hit 38 home runs. That's legitimate power out of an outfielder. He has 161 career home runs, and if he played all of his games in Philadelphia, he would have 185, which is interesting. Coming off just a terrible year where just all across the board, everything was down. I mean, he wasn't hitting the ball hard. He wasn't playing that much. Kind of just seems like his time with the Twins ended on a really poor note, and he's looking to kind of get back into the swing of things. I don't know what to expect because his career's had such extremes. He's gone up and down so drastically. I'm not even sure who Max Kepler is, but what are you expecting from him this season?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, Max Kepler, you look at him, he's a very toolsy player. He can hit the ball hard, can get the home runs. Where he kind of falls short, he's always been on the higher end of strikeouts and not a walks guy. Not really a great on-base player. Where he kind of makes his bread and butter would be slugging the ball, doubles and home runs. So if Max Kepler is going to be great this year, I think he's going to have to slug the ball well. Personally, I kind of see him, I project him similar to Brandon Marsh, because when you look at those two's careers, they're very similar players. They both hit the ball really hard, struggle to walk, and struggle to lower their strikeouts. I kind of have Kepler at a like 775 OPS type of guy with like 20 home runs, maybe like 24 doubles, something like that.
Yeah, so I think he's a little better of a hitter against lefties than Marsh is going to be.
Not by
Um,
much.
yeah, I'm looking at some of these splits. I mean, 678 OPS versus lefties in 2022, 662 versus righties, which is weird.
Yeah, he's a little more
2023,
even.
yeah, 2023, he had a 752 OPS against lefties. I mean, that's not a platoon player, which, as we'll get to, yeah,
No.
2024, even he had a higher OPS against lefties. We'll get to Brandon Marsh. I think he's a much better. Max Kepler's going to be much better against lefties. But I think it's just a matter of health. He's in a good position here in Citizens Bank Park. He can obviously hit the ball over the fence. If he stays healthy and he stays in the flow of the season, which seems to be a struggle for him, he can't really stay on the field. I think he'll be able to put together a consistent season. Just to kind of summarize the ups and downs, he had a 666 OPS in 2022. That's bad luck. 2023, he had an 816, and then he went back down to 682. So yeah, I can see why the Twins kind of grew tired of him. I mean, that's so hard to deal with as a
Yeah,
franchise
but
when you're
then you
trying
have
to
to
build an
consider.
outfield.
I mean, you got to like give him the credit that his career OPS is like a 747. So that
Yeah,
doesn't really paint the picture of who he has been.
I mean, it kind of does because that's a 747 OPS if you combine those ups and downs.
Oh wait, I didn't hear your other one. What was it? What was the second one?
816. So yeah,
Oh,
he's. I
okay.
mean,
Yep.
he's right in the middle. I just want it to be a consistent season. I don't want the ups and downs, and I want him to stay healthy. So whatever that looks like, Max Kepler, that should be the plan. I think he'll take the left field pretty well too, since he's always been pretty good at right.
Yeah, I think he's the everyday guy there, and I think you should expect him to hang around that 230 average, and I think he's going to get a lot of bombs in Citizens Bank Park. I looked at the expected home runs for the new ballpark; it would have gone up by 4 if his home stadium was Citizens Bank Park last year. So I think that bodes well for him. I'm excited for Kepler this year.
So are you thinking fifth in the lineup? Is that the consensus now?
Yeah,
Fifth,
yeah.
six
Oh
maybe.
wait, no.
Trying to think about this because Schwarber is batting cleanup now, right? That's
Yeah, and Castellanos should hit 5.
yeah. They're not going to back up Schwarber and Kepler, so it's probably going to be 5-6 depending on how the
I think it would be 6.
Schwarber thing goes.
Yeah,
That's a run producing spot, so we're going to need to count on him to come through with men on base because there's going to be people on base in front of him.
yeah. I think he's a guy wanting that spot, so I'm excited.
Who you want to go to next? There's some fun players here. I'll let you pick the next guy, and I'll give my little rant on them.
Yeah, why don't we go to Castellanos?
Ah, Cassie. We will never come to a consensus on Cassie because there's a huge proportion of the fan base who thinks that he stinks. And then there's the other side of the coin who think that he's completely irreplaceable in this Phillies lineup. Um, I'd like to say I fall in the middle, but I don't. I question the usefulness of Cassie at this point in his career. A lot of people like use the eye test for him as an outfielder. It's weird for me starting with the defense, but a lot of people who aren't into the analytical side of baseball use the eye test, and he can kind of pass the eye test in right field, which is interesting because you look at pretty much any defensive metric, and he's like the worst defender in baseball in right field. The
Mm.
thing about it is he doesn't get the best reads. He doesn't have much range. He has a noodle out there. It's not a very good arm. I'm looking at arm value here. It's 1
But
percentile. I memean, what
but
does that even
we're
mean?
we're just doing hitting today, so we don't have to.
I'm doing all of it. I touched
Well,
on
okay.
Kepler's defense a little bit, but yeah, back to the hitting, I guess. We know the deal here. He's going to play a lot. He's going to accumulate a lot of counting stats just by nature of him being in the lineup every day. Swings at everything. When he's going well, he swings at everything. When he's going bad, he swings at everything. swings at everything in spring training, swings at everything in the postseason. That's the formula for him. He's going to swing at pitches he thinks he can do damage with. Not the best at pitch recognition. Will not walk unless he's literally forced to by someone who has no control whatsoever. But he's gonna find his way into a 250 average with 25 home runs. Some people think that's very useful. I tend to lean on the side of it has its drawbacks, but ultimately, I mean, he's going to play every day, and he's going to kind of be the guy that we're going to have to ride out because, yeah, like you said, he's going to be batting fifth, so he's going to come up with a lot of guys on base. It's going to be frustrating at times, but I'm sure he's going to have his moments. Breathless.
Hello, can you see me?
Oh, I thought my rant left you breathless, and you had no idea what to say because it was such a good breakdown.
No, just looks like a connection issue. Now that Rant put me to sleep a little bit, but
oh my god,
Josh likes to hear himself talk a little bit. But I would say I'm on the side of I've been a Castellanos critic, a hard critic. I wouldn't say I'm in the. I don't think I've ever been in the middle. I think he just doesn't pass the eye test. It's not the sort of discipline and plan at the plate that you like to see as a fan. But after doing some research, the guy deserves his flowers. I mean, he put up from June 15th to September, he had an 839 OPS. That would be third on the team, which makes him the third best hitter on the team.
you're breaking in and out, so I think it's a bit of a Wi-Fi problem.
Streaks and what?
You're breaking in and out a little bit. I think it's a Wi-Fi problem, but no big deal. You can continue your rant there.
You got it.
Yeah, Johnny, I get that he ended the season on a good note, but do you remember his April?
A great note. I do, but then again, he was our top 3 hitter from June to September and October. He was our best hitter.
That's fine.
So, like,
I mean, yeah, it's just
how much does April and May really matter?
Yeah, I hear you, but you have this hitter, and sure, last season he happened to hit good during that stretch. But with this type of a hitter, you have no guarantees when he's going to hit that way. And think back to 2022 or 2023, where sure he got us through the Braves series, but he also killed us in the D-backs series. And yeah, people are going to point to, oh, he carried us through that series. He also partially lost us the other series. So yeah, there's going to be good moments you can point to.
Yeah, you're picking and choosing. You're picking and choosing. You could look at Harper.
I just complimented him on carrying us through the Braves series. The rest of the guys are way more consistent in approach and impact. This type of player is a liability in a lineup, and that's why he has absolutely no value to anybody else. There's a faction of the
I don't
Phillies
think
fan
that's
base.
true.
Why do we have him here still?
Because I think he makes an impact on this team.
No, it's not. It's completely false. He's untradeable at this point.
I don't think that's true.
If we don't have to discuss. No, we don't have to discuss the defense. But if we're discussing trade, we absolutely have to discuss it because he's the worst defender in baseball. So if you're putting that into the equation, this is not a useful player. So yeah, let's look at the full picture here. The defense is terrible, and it's a completely inconsistent bat that will show up sometimes, but you don't know when. Ultimately, that's a player that is hard to win with. It's hard. You're banking on him getting hot at the right time and helping. And yeah, if you pair him with other hitters in this lineup with the same approach, that's the problem with this baseball team. That's why we've come up short. It's like it is Casty. I mean, it sucks to say it that way, but this is the team's fault.
Don't think the reason we fell short is Nick Castellanos by any means.
Not the specific player, but the approach.
Oh yeah, sure. The approach compounding when you have 7 guys doing the same exact approach in a series, then it makes that effect. But when things are going right and baseball is doing its thing, those streaks stagger out, and we can afford to have a Casty cold streak when Harper and Schwarber are hitting the cover off the baseball. I mean, that's just kind of baseball, man.
Yeah, that's true, but
It's a game of streaks.
we don't have one Gassy. We have a couple guys who are like that. And he
Well,
might be the
that's
worst. He might be the worst culprit of the swing and miss that the Phils have displayed when it comes down to crunch time.
yeah, but he was still the third best hitter from June on, so that's
By
just what it is.
OPS,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's also cherry picking a time period too, because you just left out his 2 worst months.
I did, but I told you I was taking
Yeah.
him
So
out
so
because he started slow.
factor in the 2 bad months, and then factor in the defense. And this is a player who there's a lot to pick apart there ultimately.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, if we're gonna, if we're gonna pick apart Trey Turner for his faults, like I'm not gonna get up here and
Oh,
say,
I've
yeah,
never been shy to pick apart Nick Castellanos, but
yeah,
he's giving us more value than we're paying for.
we were not kind to Trey Turner, and the reason we weren't kind to Trey Turner is it's very similar to why I'm not being very kind to Nick Castellanos right here. But I do hear the argument, though. I mean, there is value in his 250, 23 homers, 742 OPS. There's value there. It's just it's going to come in a very frustrating format that I think lends itself to cold streaks at bad times.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think we'll just have to agree to disagree on that one.
Number 3, who you want?
Do Marshy.
Alrighty. One sec, my page is loaded. Brandon Marsh, another tricky player here.
Yeah, man.
I think we have enough evidence here that they're not going to give him an opportunity against lefties, and or he's not very good against lefties, because you can kind of point to
Well,
the things going on right now. He hasn't been good, but he hasn't been given like a full runway like we've seen some players be given. I don't know like what they know that we might not know. They have way more data than we do on all of this. He hasn't been good to date, and I don't know how many opportunities he's going to get left.
yeah. Personally, I took a deep dive into Marshy because he is the lingering question. Center field has been the lingering question for so many years. I'm frankly tired about talking about platoons and uncertainty in center field. I am hoping Brandon Marsh just kind of comes in this year and just owns the spot, doesn't give the team a decision to make. I think the best route right now is to send Johan Rojas down to AAA, let him deal with that, get every day playing time, figure out the offense, and grab 2 new guys to put on the roster, because Brandon Marsh still has a better OPS against left-handed pitching than Johan Rojas. Why are we platooning a guy if he still hits better against lefties than the righty?
All right,
Rojas has a 520 OPS against left-handed pitching.
I see that. Yeah,
Why
your
is he even
520s.
facing left-handed pitching? Why is he facing
Um,
pitchers?
so
I would
this
rather just suffer with Brandon Marsh through lefties at
this
that
isn't
point.
gonna this isn't gonna be as divisive as Castellanos, but I'm gonna have to. The issue is going to become Rojas is going to be the fourth outfielder because he's a terrific defender. Um,
But he can't hit a left-handed pitcher, and he's right-handed.
yeah, I mean,
What is your value if you can't hit left-handed
did
pitching
you
as a
did you look
right-handed
into
bat?
historical stuff? I didn't look into historical Rojas stuff. Like, has he traditionally hit lefties well?
I didn't look at 2022, but from
I can
last
look
year,
real quick. 2023, he it's 2020. It's hard to read 2023 because he was actually useful, and I don't know if that's him. All right. I don't think that's going to happen ultimately. I for some reason they don't see the path there with Brandon Marsh batting against lefties. I'm less concerned with the left or right. I just think there's a little too much swing and miss in his game. To be
there
completely
is.
honest,
I mean, he's got a
30
32% strikeout
yeah,
rate.
32% strikeout rate is not good. He swings and misses a lot. It kind of caps his ceiling, which then you're starting to kind of think about, possible alternatives. And that's what they're doing. They're thinking this is a flawed player. Are we going to be able to get him to the next level? That's a really high strikeout rate. That's like Will Benson territory. And it's tough to really succeed unless you can kind of round out your offensive profile
which
with
he
other
can.
stuff like Schwarber. Like
Like
Schwarber
like
can
a
get away.
like a walk rate that's growing at 10%.
Yeah, walk rate's very good. It's
That's how he rounds out his game.
he's a really hard player to talk about. He's tough. I don't know what to do with him. I'd like to just give him a runway because I think that he has the highest upside, offensive upside out of him and Rojas by far, and I think he's plenty good in center field. It's just I don't know if they're going to do it. I just don't see it happening.
I think it would be silly to run out a platoon in any capacity. Uh, you should just live or die by Marsh this season. Give him the full runway, and if he wants to fail, then he'll fail. But we're going to find an answer regardless. Instead of like, can Brandon Marsh hit left-handed pitching? Did he get enough of a chance? Let him just go for it and see what happens. Fully.
Yeah.
Get him, keep him in the lineup every single day because no one likes getting pulled out of the lineup twice a week. It's a pain.
So what do you think the outcome for Brandon Marsh is? Like, what do you think he can actually put up if it breaks right here?
Well, I kind of said, I see him with like similar numbers as Kepler, but I think he can keep his average up higher. I think he's a guy that can hit 265 to 270. I think he can put up. I see him like a 22 doubles, 22 home runs kind of guy. I think probably he's always been very equal with doubles and home runs. They kind of follow each other very closely. And I think his OPS, I don't think it's going to be 800 plus. I think it'll be more like 755, 760 because the guy doesn't get on base quite enough yet.
Max Kepler is probably a good comparison. So if you so what do you need to see to be like the opposite side of that? Like at what point would you see this Brandon Marsh? Like at what point do you think that okay, this isn't working? Um we probably need to platoon him. Like what would you need to see this season? Say we give him the runway. Like at what point do you give up on that idea?
I
Like
guess
is
in
this is
May,
this it?
in
Yeah, is this it? Like this is his
well,
last
like
go?
I would say the way to go about it is like he's our everyday center fielder. Maybe give him one off day a week. But then I'd give him till probably May 1st, see what it looks like. If he's hitting above 200, above a 600 OPS against lefties, that's better than last year. That's better than Rojas last year. That's improvement. And if he's crushing against righties, it probably is worth it. Just to keep him in the lineup and keep him comfortable hitting.
Okay. Well, I'm not against that plan. I really don't know if he's going to figure it out. Um, I don't know if he really
No
is
one
going to
does.
grow into that
That's
hitter that.
that's that's the aggravating part about this. We talk about it, but let's just figure it out.
So, how many at bats did he have? We can't take up this whole episode with Brandon Marsh. We probably could if we really
No,
wanted to. How many at
I got
bats did he
another
have
one.
against lefties in 2022?
It
Um,
was not a lot.
because
I
I'm
don't.
looking at his stats last season, and he definitely was a worse hitter last year. I mean, strikeout rate went up, walk rate went down. Um,
Yeah,
and
he
everything
had
else
a ton.
stayed the same. So like if he's having like more at bats against lefties last year and he got worse, then it's just like
Well,
I don't know.
he also had less at bats in general last year.
So 2023 he had 110 at plate appearances against lefties, and last year he had less
Yeah,
and he got worse.
because it would probably average itself out.
Yeah, there's probably nothing there. I don't know, man. I'm pretty divided on Brandon Marsh. I think that he does have a ceiling with the swing and miss, but I'm okay giving him runway because I guess do you want to kind of transition into Rojas here because that's the second part of
Uh,
this.
sure.
Because Rojas is equally interesting. Um, the defense has value. Like that is why he's here. Like he's a good defender. I know he didn't rate out great last year, but he's fast, he has terrific range and a terrific arm. The formula is there. So there is value in him being here, especially in a defense that isn't as well-rounded as we'd like it to be. So
Yeah.
I don't see them sending him to AAA. And if he's on the roster, they're going to find him at bats. You know they are. They're not going to kind of relegate him to a bench role. It's just not been Topper's style, and I don't see anything to suggest otherwise. And in his defense, he's having a good spring for what it's worth. He has 894.
It's worth nothing.
2 home runs too, which is kind of interesting, considering he
Yeah.
has 5 in his career.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I personally, myself, as someone that's remained oddly patient with Johan Rojas, this past it's been a year and a half now.
Mhm.
I've remained patient, but just looking at the numbers and kind of smelling that Justin Crawford's defense and speed is around the corner, I just no longer see his value if he cannot hit left-handed pitching. Like Brandon Marsh is still a plus defender. Sure, like Rojas is plus. Didn't really show it last year. Justin Crawford, plus defender, hits lefties and righties pretty similarly in the minors, which take that for what it's worth. I just think his value on this team is dwindling if he cannot hit left-handed pitching this year.
I don't think this decision should be as hard as people are making it out to be. I'm all for giving Brandon Marsh the runway, and I think Rojas should be a late inning pinch runner or defensive replacement for Nick Castellanos, and that should be the end of it.
Yeah, actually, I do like the idea of like late game being able to slide Rojas to center and then put Marshy in right or Kepler in
Or
right.
Kepler back to right and
Kepler back
Marsh
in
to
right
left.
and Marsh in left.
Yeah, that's a nice late inning defense.
But like, why is it? I've been wondering this all day. Like, why is it that we can't just reduce Rojas's role? The guy should still feel lucky to be on a championship caliber team and be
I
contributing.
agree. I do
Like,
agree for
what does he have on this team? Like, what dirt does he have? Like, why does he have to start more than Brandon
dude,
Marsh? Makes
the
zero sense.
front office people love them some defense. You know that.
Yeah, but have they looked at our outfield offense for the past 10 years?
Yeah, it's a problem.
It's been
Totally
the
agree.
biggest weakness since Shane Victorino.
They seem to think that there's more here than we do. I'm sure.
I love it. I get the upside. I thought he was a fun prospect, but like, how long is it? Is this going to turn into like the Mickey Moniak sort of stuff?
He's there. He does not hit the ball hard at all. He actually might be last in these categories because he's the first percentile. No, I agree, but I think we should
That's a
expect
bit.
more playing time than we want ultimately
Yeah,
because that's just how they've done it.
but what the numbers say, what the facts say, is he is a bench player and a number 4 outfielder. So we'll see how it plays out.
Agreed.
And this is I think we have our happiest one and our last one, which is nice.
Yeah, I don't have much here. Kyle Schwarber, pseudo left fielder. I don't think he's going to get much time in left field. Maybe a couple
Probably
games. A couple games at first base. Maybe he's trying to expand his versatility. He is a masher. He's a true three outcome player in the modern game. He either homers, strikes out, or walks like 70% of the time. But he makes it very useful. He has the most home runs in baseball in Phillies history over their first 3 seasons. I see no reason to suggest that he's going to regress or get old and not be able to do what he's doing right now. He's not that old. He's only 32. He's awesome. I think his contract situation is going to be an interesting plot line that we're going to have to monitor because he's the glue guy here. He is the clubhouse leader.
Yeah, he's the guy. I mean, honestly, when you look at this, like, I know obviously Bryce Harper's been our MVP, our MVP3, but I mean, when you relook at like some of these numbers, man, like, whew, Kyle Schwarber was a very impactful player on this team last year, especially with like the first full season without Reese Hoskins, having our missing a power bat, on base kind of guy. Kyle Schwarber like his best year yet. It was best season as a Philly yet, and really he just lights up Baseball Savant. If you ever need to feel happy, just look at that page because it's beautiful.
Yeah, the winning started when he got here, and I think that's worth noting.
It did. It
Yeah,
did. And
there's a direct correlation there.
oh, and just for fun, because I have absolutely nothing to nitpick about Kyle Schwarber's season, and I expect him to keep up the same. Let's highlight his reverse splits. Dude had an 898 OPS against lefties last year. and an 824 OPS against right-handed pitching, which is for a power hitting lefty. That's pretty much unheard of.
I'm looking at it now. That's
I
weird.
mean, I don't even believe it when I look at that. Like, it's like crazy.
That's weird. His average is so low against righties. Do you think it would be the other way around?
Right?
Huh. He's getting better. He's a more well-rounded hitter now. 248 average is terrific for him. Yeah, I don't know. Very
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, very interesting player. No defensive home, which I think is going to limit his value on the open market. I see no reason to keep him around. Not to keep him around.
Yeah, he's a leader. I think that's going to be his value on the market. Having Kyle Schwarber in your clubhouse is everyone in the league knows now. Secret's out. He's a great guy. Everyone loves him. Everyone on the staff, everyone on the team, all the fans. No one's bashing this guy. There's nothing to bash.
He is having a miserable spring. I had to
That's
scroll. It doesn't
that's
matter
been every
at
year.
all. Oh my goodness, he's 4 for 36. Oh wow, that's funny. No big deal. Not concerned. He'll be fine. Got anything else? That is the outfield as we know it. It might change a little bit because people are running into walls at the end of spring training. Just not
Yeah,
cool.
only thing that could stop us is walls.
Yeah, let's stop doing that because not a lot of depth there. It's not the deepest of positions within the organization, especially with Wes Wilson getting hurt. So past this group,
We could always throw Matt Kroon into the discussion. It's a fun
Matt
one.
Kroon, I believe Buddy Kennedy is playing the outfield now. Am I
He
correct
is.
there? Is Christian Arroyo playing the outfield?
I think he's playing left field. I think he can.
Rudolfo Castro has gotten time.
Nope. I'm not doing the
Um,
Rudolph Castro
There's a
talk.
bit. There's a big. I mean, Stubby has played left. We used to have Sosa. Didn't we have a Sosa center field experiment at one point?
I think they talk about it every spring, and it just like never actually happens.
And then obviously Cal Stevenson is still here, as far as I
Cal.
know.
It would help anyone to just not be a left-handed batter. We have way too many lefties in the outfield.
Christian Arroyo's house money right now, right-handed bat.
I kind of like him revamping his career like this. It's very fun.
Yeah, I'm so quick to buy into the post-hype prospect who just rakes in spring training. I'm such a sucker for it.
Oh, it's a good story. It's a great story.
Remember Mickey Moniak's spring a couple years ago? I was
Oh,
all in,
how
dude.
could I forget, dude? He was just hitting piss missiles every other at bat.
Last note. You know who's now a free agent?
Oh, I just who was it? Wait. Jake Diekman.
No, no. Jake Diekman's all right.
He got released today.
Poor Jake. But anyway, who I was thinking of is Scotty Jetpacks back on the free agent market. So maybe he learned something while he was gone, and maybe this will be the year that he helps out.
Yeah, maybe we get that right-handed power bat for the outfield. Maybe it'll be Scotty Jetpacks.
Oh,
You guys
it's gonna be
save your jersey.
It's gonna be 2047, dude, and we're still gonna be finding a way to talk about Scott Kingery. That's just the way it goes.
It's gonna be like Scott Kingery reviving his career as like a 45-year-old closing pitcher. Like, oh my goodness.
Does Clemens play outfield?
Yeah.
Okay, so pretty much all the bench bats are competing for that outfield spot. So yeah, monitor the health there because I don't think Kepler's back in games, and I know Marsh was dealing with something too.
Kepler was back in today.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah, him and Marsh are both back in the lineup, and I think they both got a hit today. Marsh had a home run. Kepler had a single. They look fine.
Very nice. But yeah, that is the outfield.
Oh, wait, actually, let me just ruin this whole podcast by saying that Taijuan Walker let up a nice 6 earned runs today, gang.
I saw that. He's doing his best to get released. He's doing a great job. I believe the ERA is up to 6.92 in spring, which is honestly kind of right on. That's spot on for Taijuan Walker at this point. Fun.
Yep. I just thought I'd throw that out there. I have no comment.
Fun. All right. Next episode, we will be talking regular season baseball opening day preview next week, and winter's over.
Almost
Phillies
there.
are back.
We're so
Phillies
close.
are back. That should do it for this episode. As always, thank you guys for listening, and we will be back to talk to you soon.
Go Phils.